Hi guys, this is Troy Mail, and I'm talking today to someone who I've wanted to speak to for a long time. Paul Dempsey, thanks for coming in, mate.
Pleasure, thanks for having me.
Your earliest influence, as in way back high school days, because you're a bit of a heavy metal fan, heavy thrash, serious.
Yeah, but I think like first time I like really noticed, like became aware of the guitar and like thought it was cool was like I remember being a really little kid and hearing like Eagle Rock. I think Eagle Rock was like, oh, that's a guitar. That's what a guitar sounds like. I like that. I'd like to try that. And I had three older sisters and one of them had a guitar, so I picked it up and started going, and just trying to, eventually kind of work out how to do it. And that was literally the first thing I did with a guitar, was trying to figure out how to play Eagle Rock. And then, from then I just sort of tried to play along with the radio to like, top 40 kind of chart music. And then my metalhead cousin sort of introduced me to Iron Maiden and Guns N' Roses and stuff. And then, I was seduced by Satan.
So you were into some pretty heavy stuff. You were into Slayer, weren't you? And Metallica as well, a little later on?
Yeah. Look, by the time when I was like sort of, I guess 12, 13 years old, Metallica, I just worshipped Metallica, and then sort of got into even heavier stuff like Slayer and Napalm Death and Carcass and, like death metal stuff, just trying to play, super fast. And but it's kind of funny, at the same time though, I always had a soft spot for like just a great pop song, so I was still kind of, I guess I was a metalhead, but I still just, loved a good pop song. So,
So were you songwriting back in high school, or did you start that after high school?
Yeah, I never really... Yeah, I was just more interested in... as you know, played in bands in high school and, used to jam with friends and stuff, but it was always just playing covers. Yeah, it wasn't until after high school that I actually, wanted to start playing gigs, wanted to actually, start a proper band, and started actually kind of coming up with my own ideas.
So the responsibility fell on you to be able to write a song?
I just started coming up with my own little riffs and bits and pieces, and then once I did sort of get together with a bass player and a drummer, I guess I was a little more accomplished at my instrument than they were, so I just sort of assumed the unofficial role of like, musical director or arranger or writer, and then they didn't really write that much stuff, so it was kind of left to me. So I guess I accidentally, in a lot of ways, became a songwriter.
Do you remember your first song? Do you remember?
I think it might have been a song that is actually on our first EP, and it's got a really dumb name. It's called Toothpaste. The riff was like... I was a drummer as well, so I was into really, stoppy-starty, weird, tricky rhythms and stuff. I guess I was inspired by, bands like Fugazi and the kinds of punk stuff I was into as a later teen. I went from like wanting to be this really super technical guitarist to the complete opposite, wanting to just like make noise and sort of deconstruct the idea of what a guitar could do. So everything became about, like weird rhythms and timings and really discordant kind of riffs.
So do you think you've kind of got your abilities improved, or is it easier? Do songs come easy to you now than they did back then? Was it ever a struggle?
No, music never has been really. It's one of those things where, if I'm just sitting around with a guitar and, my mind is sort of half switched off, and if I'm just sort of messing around, kind of half thinking about something else, I'll usually, after, 10, 20 minutes or whatever, I'll usually kind of stop and go, what was that?
Right.
And that's usually the genesis of an idea. And so, yeah, I don't know. I don't think I've ever struggled to write music. But,
Right.
But again, lyrics, as I say, I sort of accidentally became the songwriter in the band, and, no one else was going to write the lyrics, and that was something that I had more trouble with. And it's still tricky because I care, a lot about what I write and what I'm expressing, and because then you have to sing it, and I'm not.
And you have to sing it convincingly.
Well, yeah, and again, I sort of accidentally became a singer. I never thought of myself as a singer.
Yeah.
The only reason I ended up being the singer was because we just kept auditioning people and no one stayed. Nothing stuck. So after a while, it was just like, well, fuck it, I'm going to do this too. And I was just screaming my guts out for the first few years until I actually started to figure out how to sing a bit better as well.
And you're pretty much self-taught, aren't you? Like self-taught with everything? Self-taught with the singing? Self-taught with...
Yeah, I never had music lessons. So.
Yeah, right. So it's all just come to you pretty... So what do you play? You play guitar, sing, drums?
Keyboards. I'll have a crack at anything.
Yeah,
I've got a trumpet at home now that I'm sort of trying to, get my head around.
You've write a lot of your songs with kind of interesting rhythms. Like I pick up on that. You've got a lot of stuff with odd time signatures and stuff. Can you tell me what you're doing, or is it just from a musical theory point of view, or do you just kind of, when you're trying to teach other people, well, it just kind of goes like this, man, I don't know.
Yeah, pretty much that. Yeah, I can't tell you, I've played with other musicians who sort of say to me, oh, what is that kind of, blah, blah, they use, fancy musical words or whatever. I'm just like, I don't know, man, it's just like,
okay.
It's just what my fingers did, I don't know.
Okay, so that chord right there, could you tell me what that chord is?
No idea.
Oh, that's cool.
Do you know?
Yeah, I do know. That's a B6. But,
yeah.
I
know the root note is a B. I can go, it's a B something, but I don't know.
Yeah, no, but that, to me, is really cool. I heard the same thing about Dave Matthews, who writes all sorts of songs in on-time signatures, really interesting chord progressions, but it's got absolutely no idea what he's doing. Now, to someone like me, that's great. Yeah. That's impressive.
I guess it sort of comes from that, again, that self-sufficiency sort of thing. When I did start writing songs by myself, or like writing bits of music, and when I am, even today when I'm writing, I'm not sort of satisfied with, regular bar chords. I like to hear overtones and hints of some. I like to try and make whatever I'm doing. If I'm sitting there by myself, I want it to sound like more than one person or something. So I tend to write guitar parts that almost have elements of bass and rhythm guitar and lead guitar in the one sort of thing, and sometimes even percussive things, Do
you ever look out into the audience at your gigs and people are kind of having trouble clapping along because they can't find the 2 and the 4, or
it's pretty hard.
It does happen.
There's a lot of, you can't really dance to something for Kate. We've often wondered why our audience stands so kind of dead still, and I think it's a combination of just they're just really attentive. They're just really kind of focused and listening, and a lot of them kind of have their eyes closed, or they're just mouthing the words or whatever. A lot of the front row tend to be looking at my left hand, trying to kind of pick what I'm doing.
Right.
All the sort of guitar nerds.